Hello, and this is 3.5 Geeks. I'm your host, Nathan Towns, and this is your host, Matt. Hey,
Hello.
Matt.
Good evening.
How have you been?
I'm alright. Allergies are in the neck. I love this time of year. Spring
Oh, yeah.
is my very favorite season.
I'm more partial to autumn.
Me too. Autumn is my actual favorite season, without sarcasm and speaking through the teeth.
Oh, yeah. That's what that was. Sarcasm.
Yes.
Yes, I knew that was sarcasm.
I just love how, even though I have trouble sleeping at night, the extra sunlight peeking through the window wakes me up earlier.
Yay!
That's my favorite part.
And we could actually, this is technically the first podcast, ladies and gentlemen. It's our Easter podcast, kinda.
Yep.
Right.
Happy Easter, everyone.
Yeah. If you believe in that sort of thing, if you don't, well, whatever.
Yeah, and happy 420, if you believe in that sort of thing.
Oh, yes, 420. I almost forgot. Hitler's birthday. That's right. Very important.
Really?
No.
I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
Good heavens. It's also, I think, Ostaru. I think that's pronounced correctly. For those more in tune with another sort of spirit. So blessed Ostaru to those of you who are listening. Subscribe to that.
Yes. Oh, excuse me there. If I'm wrong about the Hitler thing, please tell me. Really, please tell me. Write me an email. Write us an email. I'll tell you the email after the podcast ends.
Well, I can pretty much Google that now. But people can feel free to email us on any topic and any commentary.
Yes, I would love to hear from other people if you rather enjoy the podcast, even if you dislike the podcast, and tell us why. It might help us better ourselves or better the podcast or whatnot. There you go. I wanted to talk about the Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Yeah, I hear good things. I haven't seen it yet. They can't really spoil it.
Yeah. Well, no, okay. Turns out it is Hitler's birthday. And we should celebrate it by watching Captain America punch him in the face.
Yes. That's a very good idea. If you haven't seen the Captain America movie,
Captain America, the First Avenger. He does punch Hitler in the face quite a lot, sort of.
Oh my God!
But yes. Captain America: The Winter Soldier was indeed. It's one of, if not, my very favorite movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far. The Avengers is definitely, the top of the heap, but Winter Soldier could tie with that.
That good, huh?
It was very well made. The historical tie-ins, the continuity, the unexpected twists and turns. You think you know the storyline, having gone into it with some knowledge of the Winter Soldier storyline from the comics, but they'll still surprise you. And to the point where some of the twists and turns of the film have gone viral, have become internet memes, independent of the movie fandom.
Oh, it's probably all over Tumblr now.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. You may or may not on Facebook have seen a picture of Bert from Sesame Street with Ernie leaning over to whisper something in his ear. I'm not going to say what he says, what Ernie says when he whispers, because that's a spoiler. But if you've seen that picture, then you know the far-ranging propagation of the effects of this film.
Wow, sounds interesting. Is that because it collides? No, wait. I was thinking the Muppet movie. The new one that was coming up.
Muppets Most Wanted?
Yeah.
No, but interestingly enough, Marvel Cinematic Universe alumnus Tom Hiddleston is in that film. Loki is playing the antagonist in Muppets Most Wanted. I haven't seen Muppets Most Wanted yet, but I do definitely want to. What?
All the fangirls.
All the fangirls flock to see Tom Hiddleston acting like an idiot, which he does brilliantly, even though he himself is exceedingly intelligent, like worryingly intelligent, like possibly actually a criminal mastermind intelligent.
Wow.
But the nicest guy in the world, but with a criminal mastermind intellect.
Sounds dangerous.
Yes, it is. It is.
So, ladies, I wanted to talk about the other Marvel movie that I missed out on. What was it? It was like a team. It was outer space. I forget.
Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Not out yet, but very exciting. Very exciting.
Oh, it's not out yet. Okay.
No, not till August, I think. Let me check that too. August 1st, 2014 is the release date of Guardians of the Galaxy. Thank you, Google. With a fantastic cast.
Vin Diesel, I believe.
Yeah, Vin Diesel is the voice of Groot. Sorry. Yep. Vin Diesel is the voice of Groot, and if you're at all familiar with the Iron Giant, classic kids movie directed by Brad Bird, he also did the voice for the Iron Giant. So you know that he's got that like iconic rumble just down. Yes, Groot only says one line usually, but it's a pretty good line. It's a pretty good line. A lot of brand identification right there. What I hadn't realized until just recently is that the luxuriantly beautiful Zoe Saldana is playing Gamora.
Oh, no way.
Yep. She's gone from Uhura to green-skinned alien babe.
Wow.
Yeah, but instead of the green-skinned alien babe hanging around Chris Pine, Jim Kirk, she's hanging around Chris Pratt of Parks and Recreation. Now he is, in all fairness, almost unrecognizable from his Parks and Recreation role. Yes, apparently he's going to be the Owen Wilson slacker type guy in space. But he's also in space. But he's also going to be a complete badass, which is pretty cool. We discussed this last time. Karen Gillan is going to be in the cast, so Whovians rejoice. Amy Pond is going to be kicking some ass. Fans of professional wrestling. I am not, as such, a fan of professional wrestling, but I have people in my life who are huge fans of that, and I rejoice with them as Batista is going to tear some shit up as the Destroyer, another green butt kicking alien. I don't know who's voicing Rocket Raccoon, but he is my favorite member of that team, my favorite character on that team.
He shows up in the Marvel video game there. Something about Clash Between Two Worlds. I don't know. I don't remember. It's Marvel versus
I haven't played it. I'm sorry.
Capcom. It's a fun game, and they actually put the raccoon character right in there, which is interesting.
Well, no, he's iconic. If there were a Wolverine type character on Guardians of the Galaxy. That's Rocket Raccoon. He's the cigar-chomping, gun-toting, butt-kicking little guy. You underestimate him to look at him, but then he
I always wondered about him. Then I saw him in
the crap out of you.
That movie. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. If you've seen, the best representation I've seen of him so far was actually in the Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes animated series. They did have another version on Ultimate Spider-Man, but it was okay. Didn't quite have the same panache to it. I love the Ultimate Spider-Man series, but their version of Rocket Raccoon was not as good as EMH. In my opinion. But yeah, that looks like a pretty sick flick.
We might see an amalgam of, in my opinion, of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of glossing it over as lately.
You mean a tie-in between Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
I don't see how they could, given that Guardians of the Galaxy is taking place out in space. But if they can do it, I hope they do, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., part of its value is the ability to tell fringe stories taking place in the Marvel Universe. Like kind of like The Pulse. If anyone's read The Pulse by Brian Michael Bendis, with Jessica Jones working as a reporter / consultant for the Daily Bugle, that involved a lot of regular citizens and people on the ground getting caught in the after effects, the side effects of big events in the comics.
I think it's important to focus on little people after big events and whatnot. I mean, after.
You don't have to pay attention to those stories, but it makes the whole thing richer if you do.
Brings it together.
The world building of it, and yes, you wouldn't necessarily get to be Star-Lord or Gamora or Drax or Groot or Rocket out front in the middle of these supernova explosions or what have you. But, if you can more readily identify with, the people who push the paperwork, or the people who mop up, the people who, hang the boards up in front of the windows after a Chitauri bomb blows those windows out, or one of Thor's thunderbolts blows those windows out. If you can more readily identify with them, then it adds a human element, a more comprehensive dynamic to the story, which I think is brilliant. You're listening to 3.5 Geeks. You can geek out about it. We'll talk about it. Hail Hydra!
Clean up on aisle 12.
Up on aisle 12. All the pickle jars. Mjolnir just hurtled straight through the pickle section of aisle 12. Pickle juice everywhere. Also, be careful for lightning, because, I hear that pickle juice is a good conductor.
They say lightning never strikes twice.
They do say that, but they say lots of things.
I believe they're wrong.
That is inaccurate. Lightning may not immediately strike twice in the same place, but if there's another electrostatic imbalance there, it's going to balance itself out with a spark.
I guess
that's how physics rolls.
I guess there's actually people out there who defied that law big time. Like, they've been struck by lightning so many times.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's not a law. It's derived from like some sort of mythological concept. Like if Zeus tried to kill you with lightning and you survived, and he was like, "All right, well played. May live." That's where that comes from. It's got no basis in science. It's just it's the idea that
basing it off the odds that he's struck by lightning multiple times. It's very high.
Then you have these people that that have been struck by lightning multiple times and somehow have survived, have gotten nerve damage or what have you, and then gotten picked up by a tornado like the week after.
Holy shit!
Yeah. I remember reading stories of people that happened. That they move and live in a Faraday cage, so they're never struck by lightning again. Screw you guys! Never coming out. Hermits United.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like suddenly a ball of lightning comes through your window.
Yeah. One would hope, however, that if you're in a Faraday cage, that would sort of prevent that. We were
Hogwarts all over again.
Yes. Cast Protego and wear rubber shoes. We were talking before we started recording about Sean Connery.
Oh, yeah, Sean Connery.
Yes. And I actually had a funny story about... they offered Connery a whole mess of roles that would have, changed the course of history.
Get out of here.
Them. They offered him Lord of the Rings. They offered him roles in X-Men and The Matrix. And he read the scripts and he didn't understand them. He didn't get the appeal. Just what is this? What did I just read?
He was in Highlander.
Well, I mean, yeah, he was in Highlander, and I don't, that's probably why they appealed to him and said, you've been in nerd stuff, come be in more nerd stuff. He said, I don't understand this. I don't get it. And then he saw that stuff like The Matrix and Lord of the Rings made bad cash, raked in the dough, and he was just like, well, I suppose I could be part of that. So the next time someone approached him to be part of a geeky sort of franchise adaptation, he said yes. By all means, I would like to be a part of this movie franchise and any sequels that might result. And of course...
There's a lot of money in that.
Well, it was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh.
Yeah! So, which was a fantastic comic written by Alan Moore before, in my personal opinion, he went completely off the crazy rails and became more eccentric than stick a shake at. Yeah, but that was not the best adaptation. I mean, I liked it. I enjoyed the film. It didn't really capture the spirit.
It's kind of like Fantastic Four all over again.
Yeah, exactly. That sort of thing. I mean, it was an okay movie by itself, but it didn't really capture the original spirit of the thing. And on top of which, it sort of fell flat audience-wise. It didn't, catch the proverbial lightning in a bottle that franchises like The Matrix did, or The Lord of the Rings with its multiple Oscars.
Yeah.
So, poor Sean kind of missed the boat on that one.
Yeah, I actually, what I did not know about League of Extraordinary Gentlemen beforehand, I actually seen the movie first before I read anything or read anything into anything else. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was fairly good.
Yeah, it was
at
okay.
that point.
I mean, I'm not saying that it was like the
as
worst movie ever made.
As a new eyes perspective, it was pretty good in my opinion.
Yeah. And I don't think that they could have on film done some of the daring what the fucks that that Alan Moore did in the comics without making it an R-rated film, and that would have drastically reduced what audience they had. You know, R-rated action films don't make nearly as much money, generally speaking, as PG-13 ones. But you know, they added characters and changed characters around and so forth.
Oh, it's kind of like on the Blade series. Blade, the first movie, was really good, and then I saw the other ones. I was severely disappointed.
You know, I'm going to disagree with you there, Nate.
Okay.
I thought the first one was okay. The
first one.
The second one was kind of weird and quirky in a dark sort of way, but it had elements in it that were worth exploring. It's worth noting that David S. Goyer, the writer, one of the writers on Blade 2, has also gone on to work on such things as the Batman Begins trilogy, the Christopher Nolan Batman movies. Yep. And you'll notice that, like any writer, he takes elements from his earlier projects that, you know, maybe didn't go off so well then, and he like hones them and he puts them in a new context, and they work a little better. And you get a lot of that with Blade 2. There's a scene in Blade 2 where one of the thugs is going to like a strip show.
Yeah.
And like it's the kind where you put money in a slot and this wall comes up and you can see this lady performing for you or whatever. But if you don't keep putting money in the slot, the wall comes back down. And he's just like, oh no, the wall's coming back down. So he puts money in the slot and the wall comes back up. And instead of the pretty lady, it's Blade, and Blade kills him.
I remember that. That was kind of funny.
That element also appears in the Crow City of Angels, the second movie in the Crow franchise.
I've never seen the Crow franchise.
Oh, well, you're missing out. I mean, the first one, heartrending, beautiful, dark action epic, with of course the late Brandon Lee. The second movie had Vincent Perez taking over the mantle of the titular Crow vigilante character, and it wasn't nearly as good. None of the movies in the Crow franchise have lived up to the promise of the first one. The third one, I think, in my opinion, gets closest, but it's still kind of awkward. The fourth one, with Eddie Furlong, despite the presence of Angel from Buffy, David Boreanaz, and Dennis Hopper.
Wow.
God rest him. Of all people. Despite the presence of those people, it is one of the worst movies I have ever seen.
Yeah.
But again, in the second movie, there's also a scene where a character is on a motorcycle and he's driving towards the Crow, the Vincent Perez version of the Crow, standing there in his coat and all badass and whatever. And you know, the Crow is like firing guns at the guy at the motorcycle and what have you. Now that shows up in The Dark Knight. the scene where the Joker is the one with the shotgun, and Batman is the one on the motorcycle. Come on, hit me! Hit me!
I love that scene. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, so, I mean, you can
Definitely
watch...
honed in better, that scene.
Yeah. Blade 2 had an amazing cast as well. Ron Perlman as this frickin' Nazi vampire hunter type guy. Can't remember his name, but the guy who played Vincent Van Gogh on Doctor Who, Curran.
Oh, he was it. Oh yeah, he was in it.
It also had Norman Reedus from Boondock Saints. So it's got all the elements you need for a decent Tony Curran. Tony Curran played Vincent Van Gogh on Doctor Who and was in Blade 2. And then after Blade 2, you get Blade Trinity. Now, a lot of people make fun of Blade Trinity. I thought it was awesome. I think it is my favorite in the franchise.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it has Ryan Reynolds as a wisecracking butt kicker. Before he played the same character 12 different times. Before he got robbed of the role of Deadpool. It's sort of he's a better Deadpool in Blade Trinity than he got to play in Wolverine Origins.
What should have happened?
Yeah, I mean, the actual Deadpool movie should have happened, no question. But I would say that the character that Ryan Reynolds plays in Blade Trinity is absolutely a better Deadpool than the one we saw in Wolverine Origins, a movie which I will disparage until I am blue in the face.
Well, it had a horrible script. Yeah. So it was very poorly executed, and the same person who I believe did Wolverine Origins was going to do the Deadpool movie. Am I correct?
I don't know if the Deadpool movie is ever going to happen at this point.
It's not.
Generally, when people ask Ryan Reynolds about it in interviews, he changes the subject to projects that he's actually working on. Like, for instance, the extremely bizarre R.I.P.D.
Oh, that was a great movie.
I enjoyed it. It was whack.
I saw it on my birthday. I thought it was...
Well, happy birthday. It was like Men in Black for dead people. And I liked it in that respect because of my deep and abiding love for the Men in Black franchise.
That's what it reminded me of, too.
Yeah.
It had Kevin Bacon in it.
Yes.
Awesome.
I generally don't watch Kevin Bacon movies for reasons of irony. But I did enjoy that film. It's not that I don't enjoy Kevin Bacon. It's just it's funnier for reasons if I don't watch his movies. Are you familiar with the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon game?
Yeah, I was. You have done it for the past, but I don't know what other people.
I can never remember who I've done it for or whatever, but yeah.
I don't think everyone on the podcast knows it.
Yeah, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon is, if you haven't heard of it, is a game in which someone names an actor and the other person, using movie co-stars, will link that actor back to Kevin Bacon. Each movie project or TV show that the characters have been in, that the actors have been in, counts as a step, and it is generally possible though not universally possible, generally possible to get back to Kevin Bacon within 6 movies. Now, I'm extremely rusty. I haven't played it very much anymore, but it's still funny for me if people say, "Oh, wow, you played the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon game. You must be a huge fan of his." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I don't really watch his movies." It's funny. It's funny for me to say that, and that's the only reason I don't really watch his stuff. But yes, I did watch X-Men First Class. I did watch R.I.P.D. I've seen Apollo 13 for the historical value.
Do you watch the show The Following?
I don't. I don't. Aha! Instead, I watch The Blacklist. There is no 6 Degrees of James Spader game that I know of. Although James Spader was in Stargate with French Stewart, and French Stewart was on the TV show Third Rock from the Sun with John Lithgow, and John Lithgow was in the original Footloose with Kevin Bacon.
There you go.
There you go. I'm actually really excited, speaking as we were of Apollo 13, that Bill Paxton has become this recurring character on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Because now that he's been in multiple episodes, he counts, which means between him and Coulson, that show links to everyone else in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It does!
Everyone can be linked to Kevin Bacon through Apollo 13, because Bill Paxton was in Apollo 13 with Kevin Bacon.
Oh my god!
Yes, I was so excited when I saw him. Just like, yes!
Oh god.
You're listening to 3.5 Geeks. If you can geek out about it, we'll talk about it.
Oh my god, Marvel. Dude, did you see the latest of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Oh, yes. Yeah, the most recent episode? Yes. I would not have missed it.
Oh, it blew my mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Has received a lot of flack from the geek community, from TV watchers everywhere. And I say to you, give it another chance. Keep watching.
Oh,
sometimes first seasons start off slow, but they were building their world, building an audience, building a presence of their own in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And now, when crap hits the fan in the movies, the excrement will also be rendered aerosol in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Not just picking up the pieces either, in the line of fire, or what have you. Now, if you've been keeping up with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there are elements of those episodes that ripple directly into Captain America: The Winter Soldier and back again. Names and faces and I cannot overstate the importance of watching this show to keeping in touch with the whole story. And you know what? Show Clark Gregg some love.
Yeah.
We brought that guy back from the dead with our love, like frickin' Tinkerbell. Clapping our hands. Coulson lives, Coulson lives, Coulson lives. And he came back. Dude got run through by a god with an alien spear. And he came back.
You have it.
Where did that love go? You guys. It's still there. We have done the impossible, and that makes us mighty. And thank you, Joss Whedon.
I mean, Joss Whedon, he does a great job. It's always a slow start. You know, they always have a low budget, but later on, you start to see the budget kind of increase. You see what they're doing, and he always has a twist. It's always like, oh my god, you just gotta wait for it. You gotta be patient.
I'll be honest with you. I was really disappointed that that the guest star in the first episode was not Luke Cage. Excuse me, but I really do enjoy who he did turn out to be, and I'm not going to spoil that. But holy crap, dude!
The pilot was very rickety.
You think so?
I'm not going to even go on. Like, the pilot, you should watch the pilot just for the information, but the pilot kind of sucks. It does. I'm going to be honest with you, and I think it turned a lot of people away. That's understandable.
I'll be honest with you, dude. You're wrong. I thought the pilot was awesome. I mean, you had a big cast to establish. It wasn't as breathtakingly epic as Firefly's pilot, but let's be honest with you here. Not many shows would be as epic as Firefly, but it planted seeds, it planted elements, it established characters.
That's true.
It had explosions and wall crawling and superpowers and people from Angel the series. I mean, it was good. It was good. It just didn't hit the chord with the viewing audience that they expected from the trailer. But just because it doesn't do what you want immediately doesn't mean it's not going to do something awesome if you keep watching. Like, say, Phil Coulson's car. Look at it. It's a slick red car.
Awesome.
Maybe it doesn't do, 300 miles on a straightaway on the Autobahn or whatever. But keep watching. It'll do something awesome. I especially enjoy that they have these jaw dropper moments at the end of each episode, just like the last few seconds of each episode, just like the
it blew me away.
Kind of like the after credits moments.
Every time.
Kind of like the after credits moments in the movies themselves. Yes.
I was very surprised at everything. I'm sorry, Matt. The pilot. The pilot.
What
didn't
you like about the pilot?
All right, they're on, and this is the main part that bugs me the most. They're on the plane or whatever, the shield plane, and what's her name? A hole gets blown out on the side. Spoilers, alright. And she just shoots out a freaking what is it called? An inflatable raft, and it inflates and it holds the hole. There's too much pressure. It would have let go, and he would have gone flying out. Not gonna say who. Just saying.
Okay. I would agree with you in the real world sense of the term. If that situation occurred in the real world, that would be an unlikely solution. However, first of all, you're in a superhero world, so people are going to be able to perform breathtaking stunts that wouldn't ordinarily work, like jumping from building to building or running across the roofs of cars. That stuff just doesn't work in the real world. It's been proven. Yeah. But characters will do that on a regular basis in this universe because that's something that happens in this world.
I know.
Also, keep in mind that this is S.H.I.E.L.D. Who's to say that their inflatable rubber rafts aren't made out of some out of this world polymer or aramid like Kevlar or whatever that it wouldn't rip apart or get bent out of shape under those pressures.
Yeah, it could be. I just
It's like the first episode. This is slightly different scenario.
yeah.
It's the first episode of Sarah Connor Chronicles, the Terminator TV series.
I'll be back.
Which also had our beloved Summer Glau. Features a scene very early on where Sarah is hiding from a Terminator behind an easy chair. The Terminator is firing bullets at her, and the easy chair is stopping the bullets. Now, instantly, in my head, I'm thinking, well, that's a perfectly legitimate action movie trope, that things that can't stop bullets in real life somehow stop bullets in the movie, like car doors, or mattresses, or tables. You flip a table over and it'll stop a bullet. So in my brain, I go, well, that doesn't work in the real world, but it works in action movies. And since this is an action movie TV series, I guess I should accept it. However, a few minutes later, after the dust settles or whatever, the FBI is rolling through that crime scene and going, what the fuck happened here? Well, someone takes a poke at this bullet-riddled easy chair. Hey, this thing's lined with Kevlar. So Sarah, apparently planning ahead for a possible Terminator attack, lined her easy chair with Kevlar. So this jumps straight from the first scenario, in which the anthropic principle of the universe suggests that these things happen because it's an action movie TV series, and jumps into the James Bond quartermaster super spy equipment side of things. It is a bulletproof fucking easy chair. All right? Why can't the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have a bulletproof fucking inflatable raft?
Well, I always thought in like movies that involve police, I thought a police store might have like bulletproof coating on the inside so they can get down it, can't cover in their freaking door or whatnot.
Yeah.
I always thought that. But in a movie with superpowers and you can run at speeds of God knows what and have super strength, you should, physically possible jump car to car or run car to car.
Yeah. Yeah. In a world where those things are true, where people can be Captain America or Hawkeye or the Black Widow, where people with enough training and with, a little bit of super soldier chemical enhancement can perform fantastic feats. Yes, that can happen in that world. But in the real world, unless they're like parked like shoulder to shoulder, rubbing paint with each other, like Jeff Gordon on NASCAR day, they're too far apart. You're going to fall between them, smack your face on the roof on the way down.
Hey.
Oh, sweet! I chipped my tooth on that wing mirror.
My face hurts.
My face hurts. Why couldn't it have been a convertible? Nice soft top car. Of course, then you might not have been able to run on it. Whoops.
Parkour.
Yeah. Parkour!
That's very popular. Parkour.
Yeah. Oh, and it is a hell of a thing to watch.
Oh God, people doing flips and crazy.
YouTube.
Oh
yeah.
my.
Yeah, these vaults and these spins. If you've watched District 13, District E13,
I haven't.
You don't generally see a lot of French action movies. But this one had I think his name is David Bell, who's like one of the gods of parkour, playing this guy from like this super ghetto. Like it's so bad they built a wall around it and said no one go in. So like warlords live in this ghetto, trading bombs and guns and God knows what. And the French government is just like, yeah, no, we let them blow each other up. We don't want them out here. So he plays someone who lives in that ghetto, who is like ridiculously good at leaping from buildings and climbing walls and and what have you. So there's these action sequences where he's like got dozens of guys after him, and while he'll stand and fight a little bit, mostly the fun is watching him get away and watching the other guys go, "Oh my god! Oh, I just missed him. No! I'll jump out the window after him and completely fail the jump because he's awesome and I'm not."
Stuff.
And then on the other side of things, there's this French like super cop, like the policeman's policeman, like the Captain America of the French police department, the Parisian law enforcement. And he's a little bit okay at parkour, like, better than you. But he's better at kicking ass. And I've actually seen him before as a supporting character in a Jet Li movie. And the fact that he could, kind of go toe-to-toe with Jet Li should tell you how kind of badass he is. And so these guys form an unlikely brotherhood, like this criminal from the criminal side of town and this super cop, like, and with the complementary fighting styles. One of them is really good at getting away, the other one's kind of good at getting away, one of them is kind of good at kicking butt, the other one's ridiculously good at kicking butt, and they form like this little brotherhood and try to stop this conspiracy. They actually made a sequel, and the sequel, in my opinion, was even better. It had some Jackie Chan sort of scenes in it where the super cop guy is trying to fight off a bunch of dudes while protecting a painting, and succeeds in not destroying the painting while he's destroying these bad guys. But there's another scene where the French police department has been corrupted from within, and he's like the only good man left, and he's like brought in the dude from District B13 from the first movie to try and help him. And they're standing side by side in this hallway in police headquarters, trying to get up to the offices at the top so they can get these files they need to prove what's going on. And both directions of the hallway are filled with angry French cops. And they are armed for bear, just like, dude, do not fuck with us. We're not surrendering this time. Screw your stereotypes. And in the middle are, super parkour guy and super cop. And the super parkour guy turns to the super cop and says, "Well, do we have a plan?" The super cop goes, "Yeah, you go play Spider-Man. I'll handle this." So parkour guy just goes out a window and climbs up the outside of police headquarters to get to this thing where the files are, leaving Super Cop by himself in the hallway with all these French cops, and he takes them on. Nice. No. Seriously freaking cool. Just unbelievable. There's this great conversation at some point in the movie where the guy from District B13 from the super ghetto is kind of cynical, naturally, given his environment and his upbringing, and he can't believe how much of a Boy Scout this cop guy is. And he turns to him and says, "What is with you? Law and order. What is going on with that?" And the guy replies, I to me, the law is my church. Some people went to Sunday school as kids. I read the Constitution. The law is my church, and the District B13 guy kind of rolls his eyes, and he's just like, "Oh, the law is my church. Listen to you. Glad you didn't read cookbooks as a kid."
The cookbook is my church.
Instead of becoming the super cop, he'd become like this Julia
Super
Child.
Baker.
Yeah. But just a great little moment.
I'm Skeletor, and when I'm not trying to rule over the world, I listen to 3.5 Geek.
But yes. Hold on. This is a different topic. You're a huge fan of the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise.
I am.
That is, I have learned this about you.
I've grown up with it pretty much all my life since I started.
Yeah. What was it that got you into Sonic the Hedgehog?
I was well, my parents bought me Sega Genesis, and it came with Sonic the Hedgehog, and I would play the crap out of that game like crazy. That's all I would play.
Awesome.
And it just hours and hours and hours of playing that game. And it led on to the other games, like the second one, and then when I was a kid, I was so excited about having the second one. Like, oh my god, it's awesome! I was like, and then the third one came out. I'm like, no way! New character, Knuckles. Oh, he's cool. He's badass. And on the behind scenes, I'd never realized there was like a show happening based off the comics, and I didn't even realize the comics happened because I remember when they released the American cartoon one. Was it like chili dogs and whatnot? That was like, what the hell's going on here? I didn't know this about Sonic.
Wasn't the chili dogs originally in the games though? Didn't he like use them as power-ups?
There was no involvement of the chili dog. It evolved from the cartoon, that particular cartoon for some reason. There might have been I don't know about this, but there is some like the creator of Sonic the Hedgehog had had a background for each character, like their age and whatnot. And Sonic was about, I believe, 16, and at that point, so he's a teenager before he meets Tails, and they might have a background on Sonic liking chili dogs, and I think that's where they might have picked up on the cartoon. But it was never established in the video games, because in the video games,
a word of God sort of situation. The creator says it, so it's true, rather than it showing up on the screen.
It might be. Don't quote directly on that one.
Okay.
Or the creator adapted it into it, maybe. Because it's almost universal now, because he likes chili dogs.
Cool.
I mean, they do what I like. As a fan, I rather enjoyed the Generations game. It was a newer game. The anniversary for Sonic actually has a birthday, so I'm guessing at that point he's like 18. No, so what they do is they have a new villain. And they do a whole like dimensional rift thing, cool. And all the old worlds and new world are kind of combining to each other. So you get this outstanding.
I love that stuff. Like,
it's an interesting game. You get to play the old style to the new style, going back and forth, unlocking stuff. You can actually play the old first game and everything.
What did you think, speaking of the cartoons, what did you think of Jaleel White doing the voice, Steve Urkel being the voice of Sonic for so long?
As a child, it sounded right when he was as a kid. Like this is Kid Sonic. And when he's young, he's still young. He's like, they made him a bit younger in the cartoon, in my opinion. He was probably about 13, even though he knew Tails at this point. They didn't make the cartoon until the second Sonic game. And it kind of felt right. It didn't feel too bad. I mean, you got to capture that cockiness of Sonic at the same time.
Right.
He's actually a nice guy, you know. He might be he's very playful, you know. Sonic's it's like being like kind of like ADD kind of, because he sees things at a faster rate and he wants to play. Life is all about freedom and doing whatever. And for the sake of goodness, and so he has this attitude, and that voice kind of fit the attitude a bit. In my opinion, I don't know other Sonic fans out there; they might disagree with me. But when you're a kid, it's like, oh my god, this is and which reminds me of the comic version, which is an alternate universe, in my opinion, on the other side of Mobius, because Mobius is where everything happens.
Right.
And the other cartoon is actually more Planet Earth, kinda, which is weird. So it has no canon whatsoever, really.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it was because it's American developed, and to see that the whole idea that people still think Sonic likes chili dogs and everything, leap from that one little basic cartoon to everything else, kind of funny. Which originally, they don't point out, obviously, the, I'm sorry, I lost track of thought. The emeralds, there was only 6.
The Chaos Emeralds or whatever?
The Chaos Emeralds, there was only 6.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, and it wasn't thought of until the next game to add a 7th one and have a super form for Sonic.
Ooh.
It was, they were trying to compete with Mario. You got to be fast. They were trying to make everything better, faster, still had better, and you still had the platforming, because that whole platforming of Mario idea is a very popular thing.
Mm-hmm.
People love platformer. It's a solid formula. Any way you do it, as long as you don't have any glitches or anything, and even if it's really difficult, people love platforming.
The old side scroller. It doesn't work as well, at least in my opinion, to have a 3D platform, because you can't see behind you.
Which so many platformers failed on that. There's in my opinion, there are several platformers that actually succeeded on that. Gex Enter the Gecko, that was very popular, because they took away from the whole, you can't see behind you. You don't need to worry about what's behind you anymore. You only need to worry about what's in front of you. In that aspect, Rayman, and the newer Sonic Adventure Sonics, which is like another reboot. The only reason the reboots occurred is the old Sonic team kind of collapsed.
Oh no!
I don't know the exact story. They might have got fired or whatnot. The Sega wasn't really doing well, but they still delivered, in my opinion. The new Sonic Adventure series, I believe, takes more on Earth, and it was outstanding, because I rather enjoyed grinding the high. They captured the high speedness. If you can't keep it with that high speed, you're gonna fail. So you better adapt, or this is not the game for you. It's more like that in all Sonics, really.
Yeah.
A lot of people were complaining that because you end up separating the audiences for this. You got the 2D side-scrolling audience, and then you got the 3D people, the people that love the 3D platforming. And so a lot of Sonic fans are disagreeing on it. So they redeveloped Sonic and continued the original Sonic games called Sonic 4.
Huh.
And they're doing them in episodes. So the first one is just Sonic. The second one involves Tails. Third one hasn't happened yet. I don't know if that's the last one, or it could be this. They might have a third one coming around for Knuckles. It's been it took them a long time to develop the one for have Tails in it. So we might see another one, depending. Cool. Sega kind of hopped onto the Nintendo bus, you know?
Yeah. Naturally, with the Olympics games franchise and with Super Smash Brothers, I mean they adapted. You know, they found a good
it was a
good console, a good formula for their games, and
it was definitely
putting out games.
It helped. I think it's helping Nintendo more. Even though Nintendo is never going to die and whatnot, because it has this big rating games. Unfortunately, Nintendo is like, well, we got all these other games. Let's not release any sequels, or we don't feel like it. Yeah. Come on. Come on, continue Metroid. Come on. Continue this. No. We're just gonna release Wind Waker again. Here we go. But I'm surprised. I'm happy. We're actually beyond that point now. I hope, cross my fingers, they're releasing another Kirby game. Yay! But it's for their handheld console there, 3DS,
3DS,
which is doing quite well.
Good.
In my opinion, 3DS is probably one of the definitely the top contenders for all portable gaming systems.
Cool.
PlayStation is trying to cash into that, of course, and having the place Vista be able to play the same games you can play on the PlayStation 3, just having the game in there. A little odd. Do you want to know anything about Sonic? Is something does confuse you, or?
Well, I mean, I remember watching the two TV series. The one that they had on weekdays, which was like absolute phoned in, Dadaist, surreal crap.
It is.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it when I was a kid.
I wanted to enjoy it. I wanted to, and I was just like,
I'm only a little bit younger than you, so
yeah. What is going on with this show? I know that Sonic is awesome. And
don't do drugs.
He's in this cartoon, but this cartoon hurts. And it's so bad.
I got 2 seasons though.
And then the Saturday morning cartoon comes out, and it's got this pumpin' rock and roll theme song. It's got beautiful special effects and fight choreography and animation and epic storylines and henchmen for Dr. Robotnik that you don't want to punch in the face because their voices are so grating.
That was based off the comic from Archie.
Yeah. That series was based off of the comics, and the comics were, I think, even darker than the cartoon.
Archie knew how to make things dark. They really do. And I'm surprised Archie's still alive.
Yeah, which is surprising considering how lighthearted the Archie franchise seems to be. You know, that they can go to dark places with their other franchises. Have you read any of the Sonic the Hedgehog Mega Man crossover that was coming out like this last year or the year before?
No, I have not even touched into that. I haven't heard of it. I've been off the loop a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Dr. Eggman and Dr. Wily team up across the dimensions to try and take down their mutual foes.
That is very possible, because based off the Sonic X universe, which is the Japanese version of their cartoon, based off the kind of the adventure series in a way, or anime. I'm sorry, otakus. Sorry, don't piss off the otakus. Don't. It's not a very wise idea. And they have a whole idea how they end up on Earth from Mobius, which is the Sonic universe, which the video game started in and the comics are in. Two separate storylines. But they have it so they can had like a dimensional accident that happens on Earth, and they're on Earth suddenly, and they go through time and space and everything. I didn't really watch the whole thing. It's not really my cup of tea. It's definitely more geared to a younger audience. And it's very possible that a Mega Man crossover, especially with the permission of Nintendo now.
Well, I mean
Capcom now.
Yeah, Capcom.
With Nintendo, because they tend to get along.
Yeah.
And Sega, out reaching for anything. In my opinion, they're trying to do everything to stay afloat. What they're doing pretty good,
Yeah.
But they're still trying to stay afloat. It sounds like that would be a very possible crossover, and it sounds like it would be rather interesting.
I do like that Mega Man has joined the cast of Super Smash Brothers in this iteration.
I'm excited.
I am excited for that.
I want to play Mega Man.
Since playing Marvel vs. Capcom back in the day, I have desperately wanted Capcom to do a crossover with the Nintendo characters, like Capcom versus SNK or what have you, to do that with Nintendo.
Capcom versus Super Smash Brothers.
yeah. Just so I can have Mega Man and Samus Aran in the same game together. The king and queen of the arm cannon. Of course, Mega Man, it's called a Mega Buster now, but
right.
Back when I was a kid, there were these two epic characters that were just based on running and jumping, and when they shot, their arm turned into a gun. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And there were these two characters that were very similar in that respect, but never the twain should meet. Now they can meet.
Oh,
I think that's fantastic.
Capcom. Capcom. I curse thee, but I love them. I really do. And Capcom has a notorious thing. Hey, we're going to release this game. Here, this is what it's going to look like. Hey, guess what? We're canceling it later down on the road. Ha-ha, enjoy! What?
Huh. I hadn't heard
we were
about
looking
that.
forward
That's
to that. It's terrible.
Oh, no.
They were going to make a new Mega Man game where you can... It's called like Mega Man Universe or something. It's side-scroller. And you can make your own Mega Man levels. My jaw just dropped. What? I want. Can I?
Really? That's awesome.
And you can play different Mega Mans.
Is it Mega Mans or Mega Men?
Mega Man, I don't know, the plural. Mega Mans or Mega Men?
I've never considered the possibility that there might be plural Mega Man.
Yeah,
Mega
I'm going to have to ask Capcom for that one. Or
Man,
the audience, actually. Please
Mega
correct
Man
me,
X.
audience.
Yeah, you got your Mega Man and your Mega Man X. So there are obviously, plural Mega Men.
Oh, God. Now I think of the cartoon. Horrible cartoon.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Mega Man has not had
it.
good luck with animated versions of himself. First of all, you've got the Captain N, the Game Master, where Mega Man is this chubby little snot who just tacks the word Mega onto everything he says, like right in the opening credits. Mega High. and he's this squeaky voiced little twit.
In America, it's been a flop. In Japan, they had more of a success rating. They have a whole thing where kids playing Mega Man game, and he comes somehow their worlds end up colliding through, and he comes through the TV screen, and he's stuck in their world. It was really interesting. I thought it was rather done well, even if it was English dubbed, of course. I thought it was. I thought it would be better in Japanese, but they create like several episodes of this. In Japan, I think they do a better job with their anime compared to our cartoons sometimes. Because they have a more feeling with that game. They know more about it than Japan, America. You got some guy they hire. All right, let's hire this guy. He knows a bit about Mega Man, right? Just a little. So he's supposed to act like this and draw him like this, right? No. And that's where I think we Americans where we fail.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't even get the color right. Apparently,
was he red?
No, he was green. Apparently, they watched the games. They played the games on a malfunctioning monitor. So instead of being the blue bomber, he was sort of teal. And
the teal bomber.
Yeah, and instead of his arm turning into the arm cannon,
he had a blaster.
No, he. Well, I mean, if you look at the cover of the first game, he's got a gun in his hand.
Yeah, he does.
But
horrible artwork done by Americans.
Yeah, if you if you play the game, though, it's obvious that his hand is shape-shifting into this weapon, this cannon. But instead of his arm turning into a cannon, an arm cannon, he had these blasters on the tops of his wrists. And he just shot these like generic big round balls of light. And then you've got the later TV series, the Super Fighting Robot Mega Man. With the voice of I could be wrong here, but Goku.
Save the world.
Yeah. The voice of Goku.
Hey.
Did the the voice of Mega Man? Yeah. I mean,
he's a great. Actually,
I'm not a huge Dragon Ball
voice
Z
actor.
Fan. Yeah,
great.
I'm not a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, but unfortunately, I now identify his voice with Mega Man, and that sort of taints it for him because that cartoon was so bad and so badly written. Maybe very badly translated. I'm not sure.
Well, they focused off They looked at the video games and that's what they did. They didn't read into it.
I mean, you don't have a lot of character to go with from the games. He's just sort of like this silent protagonist. Excuse me. At least in the original games. Later on, they
gave him a voice. Later on,
they gave him a voice and what have you. And I was disappointed by that too. I guess he's supposed to be this kid, this robot kid who got made into a war machine so that he could stop the bad guys when the bad guy robots got reprogrammed by Dr. Wily. But at the same time, I expected more of a heroic voice. And there's this.
I think Capcom's focus on Mega Man games that it's so bad it's good. You know what I mean? Which they succeeded in Mega Man 9.
That's cool.
Mega Man 9 was great. The thing about that the cartoon that stands out the most to me is when when they actually involved Mega Man X in it. I'm your future self. One day you'll grow up just to be like me. Okay. It was so weird, that episode. But after watching, like, playing Mega Man X, like, they put some anime cutscenes in it. I didn't know existed until, like, later on, because I never got to really play them. I was like, this is awesome. This is really well done. It goes on to when they first introduced Zero in one of the scenes where what's his name? I'm sorry, fans. I'm not going to remember his name right now. But the main evil protagonist from the first one, he's a good guy at this point.
Oh, Dr. Wily?
No, not Dr. Wily is dead. He's just a shadow of his former self.
Oh, is this in the X Games? I'm sorry.
Yeah, X Games. Sorry.
Oh, Sigma?
Sigma. Yeah, Sigma. Thank you. And Sigma ends up opening up Zero, who has the virus, the Reploid virus on him. And he just goes crazy. And he rips off Sigma's... Oops, sorry. Hit the mic. He rips off Sigma's arm there, and Sigma just beats the hell out of him, though, after that. He just comes out with his arm. He doesn't realize he's infected by the virus. Spoilers here. Sorry. and just the voice acting and the fighting, it was great. And it told a piece of history of Mega Man X. And they are linked together, if you didn't know that.
Yes.
There's a foreshadowing in one of the Mega Man games that by using Bass, who Dr. Wily has made, Dr. Wily made Bass out of Bassitanium, which made him like he's powerful, more powerful than Mega Man, but Mega Man always, prevails, because he's a good guy. He's got the hope and whatnot. He's got the belief, and Bass is just this. He's like Proto Man in a way, if you think about it.
Yeah, he's like the mirror image of Mega Man.
Yeah, and so Bass's former self is going to be Zero, based on Bassitanium.
Huh.
Yeah. It's kind of a shadow foreboding. If I'm wrong, please tell me. Send us an email. Seriously.
What if I told you, since they took away all the phone booths, the only way to escape the Matrix was to listen to 3.5 Geeks?
Sometimes the fans know more.
Yep. I have one question, speaking of fans, that I'd like to bounce off of you before we go. And if you don't have an answer right off, that's fine. We can think about it for next week. I do have to wind down soon because A, my voice is getting tired, and B, I gotta go do a thing.
Well, we've been recording for an hour and 20 minutes almost.
Oh, well, good for us. If you were going to be stuck on a desert island with one internet fandom, like the fans of one show, or franchise, or movie, or what have you, with one internet fandom, which would it be and why?
One internet fandom?
Yeah.
Like something the fans created?
Well, no, hold on. The fans of Doctor Who would be stuck with you on this island.
Okay.
The fans of Supernatural would be stuck with you on this island. Fans of Sherlock would be stuck with you in this island. Yeah.
So I have to deal with the super fans too. Big time. I mean, there's fans, and then there's super fans.
Right. You get all of them.
Oh, God.
The rabid crazy fans.
Oh,
God bless them.
Yeah.
One of you.
They are. They keep the series going, They keep Marvel going. They keep DC going. Oh. I might have to say it'd have to do with a video game, and it would have No, you know what? It'd be Batman.
Ha!
It'd be
Batman
Batman.
fandom?
Yeah, Batman fandom.
All right,
I
good
could deal
choice.
with that.
Like, I mean, you get these people who grew up reading Batman and wanting to be Batman and maybe learning some of the stuff that Batman would learn, and they've got these survival techniques, and maybe they can figure out a way to get off the island.
And they'd be like, I'm Batman. I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
they have a lot of them talk in that deep voice all the time.
I am vengeance. I am the night.
I don't think I would mind it too much.
Okay, that's cool.
Be
That's
a point where it'd be like, you tone it down a little bit, just a little bit.
Well, hopefully
you're
by that
you're
point,
Walt Eisenberg.
Walt
Eisenberg. Eisenberg. Wow, I'm quoting. That sounds like I'm quoting Breaking Bad.
Yeah. I generally prefer Werner Heisenberg to Walt Heisenberg. No offense. Of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, but that's just me. I haven't really seen Breaking Bad. My bad.
Breaking Bad's not bad.
Please don't break me. I just prefer my heroes to be heroic, and the whole point of Breaking Bad is that he's not a hero. He's intentionally breaking the law to subvert things and survive.
In my opinion, it's a relatable show that a lot of people like, well, if I was in this position, I'd probably do it too,
Yeah, I mean, there's a place, in my opinion, for characters that you can relate to. But I prefer characters that you can aspire to. Characters that provide an example that you strive to adopt and make the world a better place. Now you've got your Superman, your Captain America, Batman, your Sherlock Holmes,
Captain America.
People who are for all their human flaws, still strive to make the world a better place and still take a stand against people who do the wrong thing. Though at the same time, I can empathize somewhat with Walt being backed into a corner and breaking the law because he sees no other way out of his situation.
No one puts baby in a corner.
She carried a watermelon. Put in Walt's circumstances, granted I'm not a science teacher or a chemist or whatever, but put in that situation, I can't rightly say that I would not break the law to save my skin. But if I'm going to immerse myself in fiction, if I'm going to immerse myself in fiction, and I do tend to do that when I read a thing or watch a thing, it tends to take over my life for a little while.
Like the Potterverse.
Like the Potterverse. I immersed myself in the world of Harry Potter for 5 months. I ate, slept, breathed the Potterverse for this big fiction project that I was doing, the Harry Potter universe. For this fiction project I was working on Tumblr, and that is a very positive world. I mean, yes, it's got dark patches in it. It's got your Lord Voldemort and your Bellatrix Lestrange and your Dementors and your Basilisks and what have you, and there's death and curses and whatever. But the hero is heroic.
Do you want to tell people where they can read the Potterverse?
Okay, well, if people are interested, I run a Doctor Who Tumblr RP blog, Dr. Theta Sigma .tumblr.com, Dr. Theta Sigma 10.tumblr.com, and that's DrTheetaSigma10.tumblr.com. And right on the main page there's a sidebar link to click to the Potterverse where you can read it in essentially chronological order, the order in which it was written, not necessarily the order in which all the chapters take place. They're mostly chronological.
They kind of jump around a little bit.
Well, I mean, my chapters are written mostly in chronological order, except for the very, very first installment, which takes place in Halloween of year 1, and then from then on, it's chronological order. Other people enjoyed the work of the Potterverse so much that they submitted their own chapters. And these didn't necessarily show up in the same order chronologically as they would have. Like the Yule Ball from year 4 shows up in like the middle of year 3 or something. You know, this was written by my friend Indestructigirl. Hi, Steiny.
Hey, I mentioned.
Yeah, and Sad is Happiness .tumblr.com, who writes a brilliant Sally Sparrow, was the person who basically inspired the whole thing, because I wrote what turned out to be the first chapter of the first installment of it for her, and decided to write more. She wrote a vast number of chapters to contribute to this, detailing a version of Sally Sparrow that lived in the Harry Potter universe. And that was the whole idea behind the project. I would take characters from other fandoms, including Doctor Who, and Once Upon a Time, and Supernatural, and what have you, and alter them in such a way that they fit into the Harry Potter universe, and then sent these characters on adventures together that paralleled books 1 through 7 of Harry Potter, by J.K. Rowling. So it is a literally novel length fanfic universe. It wound up just my chapters, not counting the chapters contributed by other people, which are brilliant. Just my chapters, it came to 204,000 words. So it's not something that you can sit down and read in an afternoon. If you can, fist bump. But it's I don't mean to, when I say it's epic, I'm not trying to talk myself up or hype myself or whatever. I do like it. I love how it turned out, but it is epic length. If people are interested in fanfic crossover / mashups, there's a lot of different fandoms mashed up in the Potterverse. Even ones that don't have actual characters in them. I put shout outs to Lord of the Rings and the Hobbits, to Chronicles of Narnia, and numerous other fandoms and so forth that have inspired. A good friend of the program, Andrew, Corsair Cross, spelled with K's, on Tumblr, asked me to work in a character from the Golden Sun series of games.
Which quite interesting.
I've never played those, but I was able to do the research and come up with a version of a character that would work in the Harry Potter universe, at least in my opinion, worked pretty well in the Harry Potter universe. So, you got a diverse range. So, I mean, if you're a fan of Harry Potter, if you're a fan of these big crossover mashups like Super Hulock, I
love Super Hulock.
Yeah, love Super Hulock, or to a lesser extent, Rise of the Brave Tangled Dragons. You won't see a lot of the elements of Rise of the Brave Tangled Dragons in the storyline, but by an example of like the kind of mashup I'm talking about here, taking diverse franchises and fandoms and mushing them together. So that's what the Potterverse was. And thank you, Nate, for for giving me a chance to toot my own horn about that.
Oh, of course. I rather enjoy it myself. I'm usually not a fanfic person, but I say he does such a good job. It's if you should definitely take a glance at it. You might just get sucked in.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's there'll be a bunch of surprises. You might, I believe, you said Superwho. That's right. I'm sorry. Supernatural.
There's elements of Supernatural in there.
If you never heard of it.
Yeah, there's.
I want to. If you are, Tumblr is a great place if you want to do stories, or if you just like looking at pictures. And just be careful of the spoilers. If you're not on Tumblr, really, if you're a really hardcore fan or super fan, definitely look at Tumblr. If you've never heard of it, it is wonderful. You can create stories like
wonderful, like all things, but it's also got other sides to the coin. Tread carefully.
Of course.
But if you're into shows like Doctor Who and animated cartoons and what have you, it is like a candy shop where all the candy is free. All the eye candy you could want, and you just go in there and.
A lot of hashtags.
Yes.
Hashtag meat. Hashtag podcast. Hashtag Diablo. Hashtag I was sitting on the seat yesterday.
Okay. So, Nate, what was our email address?
Yes. Let me go to the email address. The email address is not exactly what the show title is, but nonetheless, it's Geek3.5 podcast at gmail.com. That's GEEK 3.5 PODCAST at symbol GMAIL.com. I know I spelled the whole thing out, but that might help better. Please email us. We'd love to hear from you guys. This is our third podcast. We want to know what you think. So please drop us a line. And think about that question Matt asked.
Yeah, if you were going to be stuck on a desert island with one internet fandom, which would it be and why? And please tell us.
And thank you, Matt, for your time.
Thank you, Nate.
I'll definitely get you. Thank you, audience. You've been lovely.
Yes.
Bye.
God bless you. 3.5 Geeks is an independent amateur production. We are not compensated by studios or publishers or companies for mentioning their products, nor do we make any claim to copyrights or trademarks. All celebrity voices are impersonated. We're just a couple people who want to talk about stuff that excites and inspires and enrages us. Our language may occasionally be NSFW. We may let spoilers slip. We may say stuff that excites or inspires or enrages you. Listen at your own risk. Consult your doctor before taking internally. Be excellent to each other.